I think there's so many cultures in the UK and they should be represented in our flag.
Do you think it might upset people who are more supporting on the Union Jack, this proposal for replacing it?
I mean, it's a bold move, but like I think we should take risks and not worry about upsetting people.
Okay, and why did you choose it?
Same kind of reasons, I think. I think it's nice that anyone can look at this flag and see themselves in it. And I don't think you can say that about the law.
What are the chances that this will be accepted if I'm introducing this in the Parliament?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, that's true. I think we'd struggle. But it's a shame.
Do you think there is a discrepancy between maybe what people want and what the politician will dare to do?
Yeah, definitely. I think our government right now aren't very daring and aren't really willing to take the risk.
They still remain in power.
Yeah.
And we live in a democracy, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Represents to me my own background, which is quite mixed and comes from lots of places from around the world, so that although I was born and brought up in the UK, my background that's not where although I sound like I come from a very traditional UK background, I don't.
Do you feel, as somebody with ancestors from various places, the need to have some representation on the national flag?
I've never thought about it before, I have to say, but I think maybe the Union Jack is a bit outdated now, because it isn't just about the Union, the countries that it represents, and there should be more of a union of the world that it represents, or people from the world that now the UK represents.
Okay, you chose both of them. Why this decision to choose both?
Well, so the current Union flag is already a unification of three different elements of Britain, of Scotland and of Northern Ireland. So it's already a symbol of various cultures becoming part of one state or one nationality. And obviously that can be problematic and difficult, but it can also create something united and create something that's a single entity. So your new flag obviously contains a whole lot more different elements, but it's the same idea as the original Union flag, which is three flags put into one.
Okay, I have some response of people that chose not to choose the Union Jack, saying that the flag was hijacked by the far right more recently, although maybe in the 80s, in the 90s, represented Cool Britannia, now it's representing something else. Do you have any reservation now to hold the Union Jack because of that, or do you think it could be changed in other ways?
Yeah, I mean, symbols can be used by lots of different people to mean lots of different things. I mean, it's probably more the flag of St George that I would feel I had maybe a slight aversion to, because of feeling that it's been hijacked by other people. So yeah, I think it's more the flag of St George that I would unfortunately have reservations about, rather than the Union flag.
What happened if Scotland leaving us?
Okay. Well, that's a good question.
Are we to design a new flag, or just
We're going to need to find someone who can design us a new flag. Have you got any suggestions?
Yeah, this was actually started as emergency flag.
Very good.
Intermediate, like Brexit, it's an intermediate flag.
Cool, so I've chosen, my name's African Boy, spell it with a K. I've been asked which one of these two flags I want to choose that I feel represents the UK. I feel both of these flags represents the island in which I live in and I was born in, because this is the island that I lived in and I was born in. This is the establishment that has, built its way up to be this way. So this has to represent where I'm at, because this is what it is. However, mine grew up in London, southeast London, and I'm a product of a flag like this that represents diversity, that represents a mixture of different cultures, which is what, as a Londoner, I specifically feel. Hence why London probably was one of the only major cities that voted not to leave the Brexit, because we feel like this, we want to be connected to everyone. However, the Brexit showed us that we are still in this place, Great England. So that's me, African African boy, both of them. But you know me, man, representing the world out here, yeah? What's up?
Chose this flag?
Because I think we need to acknowledge that there are lots of different communities within one culture, and I think this encapsulates it.
Do you think that LGBTQ people more inclined toward the new Union flag rather than the Union Jack, or not necessarily?
I'd like to think so, but not necessarily.
Okay. Why not? Because the flag I created, well, from my perspective, it's much more diverse and talk about differences.
I think it's a lot more complex. I think we have an expectation that LGBTQI would be more accepting, more tolerant. But at the end of the day, they're still people as well. So I don't think it's quite as straightforward as that.
Yeah, why you chose this one and not the Union Jack? I chose this flag because it's got loads of different cultures represented on it. It's colourful, and I feel it represents the different cultures within Britain.
Go.
Hi everybody, I chose this flag because, born in the UK but living in the world, Leicester is a fantastic place for diversity, and I absolutely love living here. You take good care and live in a diverse world.
The new Union flag rather than the Union Jack.
Well, the new Union flag looks a bit more inclusive, and it's more multicultural, and it's more colorful. And for me, because it's got lots of colors, it just shows the inclusiveness and the cosmopolitan ethic of it, you know, of people being together wherever they come from. That's why I chose the new flag.
No.
Because we're all citizens of the world, and so yeah, we're not citizens of a country, we're citizens of the world. I'm choosing both flags, not because of nationalism, but because I think the Union Jack is very important emotionally to a lot of people in Britain, and I don't think those emotions should be trampled upon, but I think it's a brilliant idea to have a duality of the flags and to demonstrate that we're all progressing to this matrix of people that are actually shaping this country into something that is not purely nationalistic. It's much richer than this flag signifies, which is why I would go with having it remade in a different vein. But I think it's too important to lose this. It would have to be one side and one the other.
Okay, but I personally think this flag is better representing the UK because it's a multiple culture country, and this flag, you get it all. The Union Jack, unfortunately, is only certain colours, which doesn't represent half of us in this country who are born and raised here.
Exactly the same, you know, it represents everyone from everywhere, and you know, it works out perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, so why do you chose the Union Jack?
I like the traditional value of the Great Britain society, so that's why I chose this one. I'm proud to be British.
Okay, and what is the British values that you are proud and represented by this flag?
It's that I feel that if you live in this country, you should respect the laws and the rules as well. Being a British citizen.
Okay.
That's how I feel. That's my strong values anyway.
Okay. And could you explain your choice?
I like the multicultural of the colors, different.
Okay. Do you want to convince each other, talk to each other and convince them that your flag is better representing the UK?
Well, this has always been the Union Jack, and we should honour it anyway.
Yeah,
but you can have both. You can have both.
Good to
but
have
I still prefer this one though.
As somebody who probably, as I guess, your ancestor came from not England, but from elsewhere, wouldn't you like to see a representation of your tradition in a form of textile design from your former or your ancestral country in the flag that represents you today?
How would you feel if, which country are you from, basically?
Well,
if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, it's complex. I was born in London, my dad from Iraq, my mom from Bulgaria.
Okay.
They were in Israel, they immigrated here and they immigrated
Okay,
back.
right. So if we go to, say, a Muslim country, right, we have to obey their rules and things like that, you know? And if you drink alcohol or anything like that, how come the Muslim country are not flexible in that sense? Now, you come to this country, right, so you should respect our values as well. That's how I feel at the end of the day. I'm British born, so I'm proud. I'm not from another country, I'm born in this country.
Okay.
And that's why. So, end of the day, right, it's okay for you to say that we have to be multicultural and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But if we want to be our rules into your country, you wouldn't like it then, would you? And you say it's against our religion and things like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it. I'm not being wrong. Yeah.
I was also born in the UK.
Yes.
But I feel that somebody who was born in the UK was created by a lot of things, and a lot of these things are the people who came from elsewhere. Sometimes not by their choice, sometimes because of process of colonialism and imperialism, and they came here like my parents, you know, like my dad who is originally from Iraq, my mom, they lived in Israel, they came here because Palestine was colonized by the British and Iraq was colonized by the British. They chose to come to this country, and this is why I was born here, because of this process. So I feel like that I have share in the British culture, and I wanted to represent in the British flag.
I mean, it's good, but I reckon that we should be all multicultural as well and respect one another, and not be too militant against each other's religion or something like that. And that's what I think the religion is causing the war in this world at the end of the day.
Sometimes we just keep peace as well.
No, I think that we need to get on with everyone, but we need world peace, basically, more than anything else. Get rid of the religion.
Why do you choose both of the flags?
I choose both because I think, in fact, people should be able to do what's in their hearts. I'm a big believer of mindfulness, and I know that a lot of people represent with the British flag, and also a lot of people will represent with the new flag. I think that sometimes borders close our minds, and I really believe that having a mindful perspective is probably better than worrying about flags.
Why did you choose the new Union flag rather than the Union Jack?
Diversity.
Why you chose the Union Jack?
I don't have any reason, I just chose it because I just saw the flag.
Okay.
Ask another person, please.
Why do you choose the Union Jack?
Because I'm French.
Okay, so you feel as a French, this one is more familiar as representation for the UK.
Il a dit, tu penses parce que tu es française, alors ce drapeau représente plus le UK? Yes.
Where is your ancestors came from?
Tes ancêtres viennent d'où? Congo.
Congo. Would you like to see a Congolese fabric design in the French flag? So it won't be just the colors, but also.
Avoir comme un Likuta, le truc de Likuta sur le drapeau français? Yes.
Okay, so I made this flag to have representation of the people who live in the UK within the Union Jack.
Et dès qu'il a fait ce drapeau justement pour représenter les gens qui habitent dans le UK, donc les différentes nationalités qui habitent dans le UK aux États-Unis.
Okay. You immediately chose this one. Tell me why.
Because I think it represents like different culture in the UK.
Okay.
So it's like bringing us together really. It's not just about the English, but it's all about all of us really. Africans, Indians, all of us.
You?
I think with
the sake of imaging or putting it out there officially, you can use the Union Jack, but really within the UK it's all diverse. Like it's a diverse community, a diverse group of people that come together to make it what it is basically. So I think this represents how the UK is more.
Anyway, you two, if you can answer me, that I can convince the UK Parliament to adopt this flag. Can you think about creative way that I can convince them?
All I can say is they've given us the opportunity to live here. Like they've opened doors for everybody to live here. Why not just unite all of us and make one flag?
Your choice?
My choice. First of all, there's more colors. It says a lot more about what the UK is. Not just 3 colors, but basically there's a lot of variety of people and diversity. So this flag, although it's a Union Jack, but it has a lot of diversity in it, representing everyone.
What do you think will be reception if I'll do something similar to that, but to the French flag?
I think, can I be honest?
Yeah.
Okay, I think the UK are much more friendly than the French people. So I think diversity and bringing people together and equality. I have to salute the UK for that. You feel part of the society. You can fully be a member of the society. Rather than in France, I don't think they have that same opportunity. I don't think so. So basically, good luck with that. I think you will have more chance to have this passed in the Parliament here.
Jack.
Well, I'm proud of my nation, the Union Jack, but our country is made up of different people from different cultures, different languages, different feelings, and different gender issues. And we're part of Europe, and I'm really annoyed with the Conservative Party, particularly the Conservative backbenchers who want us out. And Nigel Farage, I think he should go to the Tower of London and be hung.
Why you chose this one and not this one?
Hello and welcome to James Festival International 2017.
From different
We're about to start the game with some exciting.
Yeah. I do actually like the concept. It's a very good concept, but you have to represent the British Isles as a union, and I think that's what the Union flag does. So you need the Union flag represented somewhere in here.
And why didn't you choose the Union Jack?
Because it's never represented me as a African.
Why?
Why?
I do have people from that originated from Africa or the ancestors, and they did choose this one.
Well, we've represented the flag, but the flag has never ever represented us. I think that's.
We chose this flag because we thought that this represented the UK with all of its multi-nationality, and it's much more colourful.
Okay. Any other reasons for you?
I don't think that's representative anymore.
Why not?
Too bland, it's too plain. It's,
okay.
There's such a mixture of culture and diversity that's better.
Do you live in Oldham?
I'm from Oldham.
Oldham.
We live in Stalybridge now.
Okay. Do you think that your opinion were influenced by the mixture of people who living here, and if you lived in another place, you might choose this one?
I think so. Yeah, I think if you lived in somewhere like Oldham, you've got to get this flag, choose this flag because of everybody that lives here is actually so diverse. But if you lived in somewhere like Cheshire, South Cheshire or East Cheshire, maybe you might choose that one because obviously it's a much more white area. So this one is, I think, for the very, very representative of the north of England.
Okay.
For myself.
Union Jack.
Die-hard Brit.
Why?
Die-hard Brit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just proud to be British.
Okay.
basically.
Do you think that the creation of the new Union flag, which I created, doesn't reflect Britain?
Yes, it doesn't reflect Britain.
Why?
Because of the history of the place. You've just invented that.
Yeah, but a lot of the communities that this is their traditional design are actually living in the UK, and partly some of these communities were colonized in the past by Great Britain. So this is why I added their representation, their fabrics. Now this is not cancelling the Union Jack. The basic design is there, and there is the design of the various tartans, with English, Scottish, Irish, even Celtic design. So I didn't abstract anything English particularly or British, but it's still there.
Did you redesign the Scottish tartan though?
No, I didn't design the.
Right. What you did thought you could redesign the flag. I don't think that's right.
Okay.
This has been evolved. It wasn't designed, it evolved.
Well, it also was designed, it's just several hundred or thousand years ago, 100 years ago.
The cross of St George, isn't it, and the Scottish flag, and the other one, the Welsh flag, and all that.
Okay.
All combined together.
Okay.
Not instantly.
Okay. And what happened if Scotland leaving England? What will happen if Scotland leaving England? What kind of flag you would like to see then? If Scotland decide to leave the UK, what would you go back to the St George flag, or would you? It will be a combination of England and Ireland, or would you look for designing a new flag, completely new flag?
We don't know because we don't know what's going to happen yet.
Yeah, but let's say that it's happening, okay? Theoretically.
So we'll take the Scottish flag off this and keep the rest.
Keep the rest, okay. Thank you.
This one, the Union Jack. Well, the reason I chose this one and not the Union Jack is that change is long overdue. The Union Jack was based on an empire that raped and pillaged the planet, so the sooner that's gone the better. And the national anthem as well.
I want to live in a country that has lots of different people. We are a country that has lots of different people living here. We should celebrate that, and this is much more reflective of the UK.
Do you think that this project might upset some people, and why?
I think it might upset some people. I think some people have a very narrow view of what Britishness or what the United Kingdom stands for, and might upset some of those people. But I don't think that matters. It's my place with those people, and they need to be challenged, and we need to have more of a conversation about this.
Okay, so you chose this flag rather than the Union Jack. Can you explain me why? Is something that you feel representing more the UK?
We do need a new flag. We need a flag that's not based on ancient Christian saints and things that are irrelevant to a lot of people. We need something that symbolises the multicultural nature and the openness of the country rather than the closedness and the divisive nature. This is very difficult to understand, I feel. It needs a lot more clarification. But the idea is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love having all these different designs of the different cultures. But it needs explaining. I had to have it explained to me. Yes, I think we need the cross. I think it needs the structure. And it also links with the old Union Jack, so we need to keep that. I think the flag should be very clear as soon as you see it. And this is a bit complicated. Well done.
So I chose this one and not the Union Jack because for me it represents the multiple different communities and diversity of the UK, and for me that doesn't come through in the Union Jack.
Do you live in Manchester?
No, I live in London.
In London. Do you think if you were living in a less diverse place than like London or Manchester, your opinion were different?
I don't know if it's about where you live, maybe it's more just kind of how you relate to the world around you, perhaps.
Yeah.
I chose this more diverse one because I was really pleased when I saw it because I've never identified with or liked the Union Jack, and I've always been very embarrassed of it when I see it abroad or when I see other people wearing it. So this was a design that I felt I would be more proud of and I would be wearing something of.
Do you think there is any change in the representation of the Union Jack? Because, for example, in Blérius and the pop years, it was on everywhere and didn't consider to be particularly nationalistic. It was like Cool Britannia's symbol.
Yeah. It's been changed and the meaning of it has changed. Actually, even more than the Union Jack, I think it's the St. George's flag that has been given another meaning. So maybe it could be reclaimed, maybe we could give another identity to the Union Jack. But at the moment, I don't think it's something that anybody feels comfortable about, so we should maybe start fresh.
Okay, so you pick the Union Jack kind of immediately because you felt that it's representing, from your perspective, the UK, although your ancestors are from Pakistan. Why the Union Jack?
Well, compared to the other flag, I mean, the idea behind that's great. I mean, the whole culture and stuff like that, but it doesn't really need to be stayed on the flag. I think this is more representative because then everyone can be part of the same community without really, I don't know, specifically defining the rest. And this is what we've all come to kind of grow up with and know, and I feel more comfortable with this one than that.
Okay. And you wouldn't like to see traditional textile design from your parents or grandparents' country traditions in the national flag, which you are part of?
No, not really. I mean, I think it's better without it, to be honest. That's just my opinion, though. Like, it's not like a hatred for the rest of the cultures and stuff like that. I mean, I know like Britain did take over different countries in the past and stuff like that, so maybe it's only fair to have them on the flag too, but I think the way flags are made and just like the colours they're used, I think the patterns are excessive, and I think the simplicity of this is what makes it beautiful.
Okay. What about these days where the Union Jack is being used a lot by UKIP and other far-right groups? Can you still, go proudly with the Union Jack where it's kind of hijacked by far-right and racist groups?
I think despite it being hijacked by racist groups and stuff like that, the way it was founded by the people that created it, I think their foundation still stand very strong, and people won't forget the Britishness of the flag and the way it was created and stuff like that. And even like, I don't know, in World War I and II, this is quite symbolic, and it still is.
Yeah, the fact that people like us still pick this flag doesn't matter that it's been hijacked by the bad people.
Yeah. I chose this one because I don't like the Union flag, the traditional Union flag, being used as a symbol of exclusion in our country, talking about the things that we don't want in the country. We really should be celebrating the things that we've got in the country and trying to include as many people as we can.
It's been our flag for 200 years, and I don't see a lot wrong with it, to be honest with you.
There are some communities who are citizens of the UK, and for them the Union Jack represents, well, let's say bad memories of colonialism, for example, and they don't find their culture within the Union Jack, although they are part of this country. What you tell to them, why they should adopt the Union Jack and not request to include some of their culture within it?
I think I'd probably say look to why you came here in the first place.
Okay. Why you chose the new Union flag?
I mean, I agree with you. I think it represents a lot of people. I think it's a lot nicer. And yeah, I don't see, I'm not as attached to flags as maybe some people are from different generations.
Careful.
As in different people. But I don't see a problem with changing the flag. I think it's a symbol that represents the country. And
If you don't see associations of flags and what's going on in the Middle East and all over the world, where the flag is everything, go to Northern Ireland and see what they say about the flags.
Well, we don't really want to be like the Middle East, I think.
The rest of the world paints its curbstones and the colours of its flags.
well, that's good for the rest of the world. That's not what he's asking me.
No, I know that. You're making it.
Okay, you chose the Union Jack.
Yes.
Is more representing the UK.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Because it's the flag of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, all mixed into one. That's what it's always been.
And you have you mentioned some personal.
Yes, when I was her age, I can remember my mum buying me a Union Jack flag just like that, little one for myself. And I've always loved it. I've always loved the Union Jack. I think it's a beautiful flag. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Okay. Two questions. What happened if Scotland leaving the UK? Would you?
I would still fly the Union Jacks. I don't believe in Scotland leaving the UK.
Okay. When what you say to people who came from former countries that were conquered by the empire, for them the Union Jack represent that period of time of colonialism, and they are feeling
well, I
uncomfortable.
mean, it's got nothing to do with what time it represented. It represents this, the UK. It's always been our flag. Really, what's going on elsewhere is irrelevant.
And some people today told me, they used to like the Union Jack, but it was hijacked by the National Front, by UKIP, by far right. They don't feel.
That's just what they make. That's just what they make of it. It's got nothing to do with the BNP or the far right or anything else. That's been made up by people who want to label anyone who flies the Union Jack as a fascist and a racist, which is ridiculous. People have been silent, almost made afraid to say that I love Britain, I love my flag. It doesn't mean to say they're knocking anybody else or being unwelcome to anyone, but immediately there are people who have silenced people, and people have said what they think. Now with Brexit, they're all complaining about that, but that's what happens when you silence people for too long.
I chose this because it's time for a change, and also I'd like to change the national anthem at the same time to All You Need Is Love by the Beatles. I think that just about sums up my thoughts. I'm not a nationalist, and I'm all for diversity, obviously, and the more the better.
Do you think that you can still be patriotic but choosing the new Union flag?
Yes, of course. It was basically still the same flag, but it's a different colour.
Okay. I'm originally from New York. My grandparents are immigrants from Eastern Europe who settled in the United States. I've now moved and lived with my Irish wife in Wales. And I think that, and I'm a British subject as well as an American citizen, I think that identity is a very vexed question. The tradition of the original Union Jack, which isn't very original, of course, what is an 18th century construction, these things are always fluid. Identity, nationality are fluid. I think we need to learn to live with that notion of fluidity, change, innovation. So I'm happy to hold both flags that represent.
I believe what that one is trying to, the message is trying to put across. I understand it, but for me it seems with too much going on at once. But then with this one, obviously the simplicity and whatnot of it, there's also a piece of history behind it that you can actually trace it back to centuries upon centuries, where you can see what the country has been through and what it represents. And after going through the museum today, understand more of, the culture of the country.
Okay. You see, when I designed this one, I had the colonial history in mind, and I'm also a son of colonialism. And for me, the British, I can't be identified with the Union Jack because it's symbolized there. So I left the trace of it quite clearly, the design, because I didn't want to delete the past, but I did want to bring, presence of former colonized communities, but also other people who live in the UK. Won't you think that you can identify better with the flag which you have some of your ancestors' textile designs in the national flag than having just the Union Jack?
That's a very good question.
So could you mentioned before the sports people who marching on the Olympics with this flag. It was mentioned by another white English lady that really supported the Union Jack and not the other one, saying, but this is our flag, the Olympians are marching under it. So my answer was, do you see the color of the people, of many of the sports people that marching under that? Don't you think that will be more proud to march under my proposal? So she said, I don't know. What do you think about that? Can you be proud? Are you proud? Can you march proudly with the Union Jack?
I'll have to be a sprint success. I'll have to be able to run like Usain Bolt to be able to carry the flag. But what I would say to that will be that it's a very complicated. My answer to this is very. My thinking beyond this is
it's more than one dimension. There's multiple dimensions where when you break it down, you start understanding that actually what you're saying is quite right, but still you have to identify that obviously I'm still part of like the community, right? That's willing to fight for the change of what this represents like in the past.
Okay.
When it represents the past, to change it for the future. But as you were saying before, yes, I'm willing to fight to make this better. And also, not just, obviously, it's just a symbol. At the end of the day, it's a symbol, yes. But then for what it represents, it's way stronger than symbolism in itself.
Okay.
If I'm an athlete, and I know that, okay, I'm in this, I'm running this, I'm running away from my country. If what the country like represents itself as a whole is good, I am willing to carry this. But if I'm subjugated for being black, if people are LGBTQ in the community and being suppressed or whatnot, I won't be proud to carry this. But then if what the message they hold is dear to me, I am more than happy to lift it up.
Okay.
But unless it's not that way, I won't be. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, for me, it's more dimensional than just saying,
okay.
Am I proud of it?
The reason I chose this flag rather than the Union Jack is this is more representative of what's going on today. It's about all the cultures being together, the tapestry of life. I'm fed up with people fighting. We should all live together. We should learn to accept each other so that we all have a place in each other's homes.
So why you chose this one?
I chose this flag because I'm an immigrant to this country, so the fabrics from the Asian regions are very much part of my heritage, so I kind of feel more closely associated with that, with this particular flag for those reasons.
Okay, and
I was born and bred here, and all my ancestors come from either England, Ireland, or Scotland, so I've got closely linked to this.
Okay. In this flag, you have also the Scottish and Irish tartans, which are not clearly represented in the Union Jack. Do you think there is any chance that this flag will ever be the UK flag?
Knowing how difficult this flag was, I doubt it.
Okay. Would you like to see this flag that you're holding, the new Union, as the UK flag?
No, I wouldn't. And the reason for that is I think because Britain has its very strong identity with its traditional flag. And even though contemporary Britain today is made up of different communities and cultures, the Commonwealth, I still think if this flag was just to represent everyone, it would move away from its actual origins of what the country is about. And so I wouldn't necessarily want to see this flag. I think for me personally, even though I'm an immigrant and I've been here for many, many years, I still think this country should stay with its national traditional flag.
Okay.
Right. I picked this flag because I like the idea of honouring all the many races and cultures represented on this island, and because I don't feel myself, although I'm English and grew up in this country, I don't feel strongly identified just with Britain or England. I feel myself much more just part of the whole human race. And although the only times I find myself feeling kind of patriotic and defensive about my country is if I'm abroad and I feel someone is attacking Britain. And although I have much to criticise myself about this island and its current government, I do find a sort of defensiveness, which I suppose means it's like somebody slagging off your family or something like that. So I do feel.
Do you think
that's
that
the only time I feel defensive.
Do you think that you can feel be patriotic and march under the new Union flag?
Do I feel that
Do you think that it's possible to be patriotic
Yes.
about the UK while still supporting the new Union flag? Can the new Union flag be a symbol of patriotism?
Yes, it can be.
In what way?
I think, yes, of course, it can be. I think the sense of patriotism or love for your country is something much more irrational. Although in my mind I hate there being borders between any countries and would love it if we all felt that we were part of the whole human race and all of life on Earth. Still that sense of being rooted somewhere, I suppose, from where you grew up is also quite strong in me as well. But it's more I tend to be identified with a particular place where I lived when I was a child rather than Great Britain. So for me, marching under any flag is a funny concept anyway, but I could happily march under this one if I've got to march under a flag anyway, as the flag of the United Nations or any of the flags that represent our common humanity. I could march under it, yeah.
Both of them, yeah. Okay, tell me why you chose both.
I chose both because I'm really happy and I'm proud to live in my country, but then I've got lots of friends in this country that have come from other countries, so I recognise and love the diversity of my country as well, so that's why I picked both.
Okay. Do you think that actually the Union Jack can be replaced with this design, and in the sense that okay, they came from other places, but they're actually British one, so they are contributing actually to the making.
Everything contributes, to our country, so I understand that. But I think it would take a while because you had to explain to me all the different countries represented, whereas that's instantly recognise that as my home flag.
Okay. And why you pick this one?
I picked the recreated flag because it embodies the cultural diversity and artistic diversity in Great Britain, the Kingdom.
Do you think I have a chance to change the flag? I'm quite serious about it.
yeah, most definitely. I think so. I think Wales might approve of it because Wales are not included on the original one, and it's just more contemporary and more current. So why not?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
This flag here in my left hand is quite representative of the UK and its diverse cultures and the many people that have settled here in our country. On the other side, this is the Union flag, which is centuries old, and I feel personally that it's because of the emblem of this flag that we have so many different cultures coming to our country. This is a safe emblem, and this is what I feel represents the UK.
German bread.
Yeah. Okay, what's your name?
My name is Libertad.
Okay. And why did you choose the new Union flag to represent the UK?
I choose the Union flag to represent. You mean this new one?
Yeah.
Oh, because I think it's excellent. Because I think currently UK is a very multicultural society, which is completely thriving with full of energy and good vibes. And people from all over the world. It's one of the most fantastic places to be.
And you asked me if I sell T-shirts or dresses or anything with, because you saw my jacket.
Yes, I love it. It's so colorful. And I love to wear it.
Where did you want to wear it?
Well, if it all goes well, I like to wear it for my ceremony. Because I want to get naturalized. Because I love to be able to. I just want to get naturalized.
What is this ceremony? What is naturalized?
Naturalized means to get the citizenship, to get the British passport. Because I think England is so cool.
And you just told me other option what you want to wear for the citizen ceremony.
Well, I'm thinking. I don't know it to look like a lady from Ascot, you know, the Ascot race horses. You know, the horses running here and there and everywhere. I don't know it to look like a very cool Britannia, a little bit like, you know, like
Austin
Kate
Powers.
Moss or something like that. Or just like or like the Sex Pistols style, you know, full on radical. I don't know, I really don't know. But perhaps I just should wear your clothes with your design.
Yes.
I chose this flag over this. I think this is the great concept and really appreciate it for this to bring the world together. But that should be the flag for a united world. But you want to represent your country. So how you represent your country? This is British flag. So this represents Great Britain. So this keeps identity of a country, of where we live.
So I have one question about the identity of a country. If a country is made by the people who live in it, now you live in the UK, you're a British citizen, wouldn't you like, as part of the country, part of the nation that lives here, to have some cultural representation in the national flag?
Yes, that is the cultural presentation in. You do that in people, but national flag represents national people. And I don't think it would be fair on a country to change their identity. And I'm proud, I'm Indian, British, my wife is British, she is proud, she's British, and we should be proud of that. So, I mean, it's my opinion, I don't know, everyone have different opinions. But for me, your flag, your country flag represents you, alright? So if it represents you, you should be proud of that. So I'm a proud person, so my wife is proud British, I am proud Indian. I mean, I will keep that in me, my wife keep that in her. If we try to change it, we can't change people's identity. This gives me identity, I'm British. My flag gives me identity, I'm from that country. That helps me to represent my identity, my culture. So we should be free to represent it.
So what do you feel? Do you feel that the Union Jack represents your identity and culture?
Well, it represents British identity and culture, and that's important. That's very important. You don't want to lose your identity and culture, do you? So, yeah, that's important. I can come here, I can bring my culture here, and I want people like that, people love that, because my culture...
symbol, and I think this better represents a more inclusive, diverse picture of what life's like in the UK.
Why you never identified with the Union Jack?
Because I always felt that I always had difficulty with it because of Britain's past with colonialism and things like that. I always felt it was too much associated with a sort of patriotism that I wasn't particularly happy about. Even though there's lots of things like my cup of tea that I love about England and Britain, I never particularly felt like I wanted to sort of feel like it's better than anywhere else. You know, I think all countries are different, all countries are equal, and I felt that the Union Jack's used too much as a symbol of Britain's greatness, whereas there's other things about Britain that I like, and trying to promote it as the best country.
2, 3.
Because I've never liked the Union flag. It has too much history associated. So anything, if you'd given me a pair of underpants, red underpants, I would have preferred it. But this actually has a lot of thought into it, so that was why that's my choice.
Why you don't like the Union Jack? What you associated with that?
Colonialism.
Colonialism.
Empire. Power. Battles. The flag came together because people died to unify. It's territorialism. I don't really like flags. I know you've got a flag, but really there are no flags, there are no countries. So
I got few people here telling me, you know, for them the Union Jack really associated with the Victorian Second World War, etc., and they feel really attached to it.
Yeah, and the song "Rule Britannia." Why should it rule anything? Why should it rule the waves? But for me, there are no flags. Really, flags mean war.
So you chose the Union Jack that you feel more representing the UK, or would like it to more represent the UK. Why?
Yeah. Well, I really understand the sentiment of your proposed new flag with all the different cultures and everything, and I really like multiculturalism. I have a lot of friends who are from around the world, etc. But I just feel slightly uncomfortable that those people would feel more comfortable with a flag that wasn't the national flag of the UK. I think we are in danger of running it down needlessly. We should make those people from Arab countries, from Africa, from Europe, from around the world, we should make them feel proud to be British and not try and make them feel more comfortable by adopting something different. We should see them flying the British flag and really stop being ashamed of the British flag.
Now, from somebody who is, your ancestor came from Italy, wouldn't you like to see some Italian culture, in this case we are talking about the textile design that originated in Italy, actually incorporate into the national flag that is now yours as well?
No, because where do you stop with that? You basically don't have a national flag. You may as well have a world flag. We're all people of the world in that case. I have a real problem with flag waving full stop, actually. I don't like nationalism. It's never produced anything other than turmoil in the world. So I prefer not even to care where people come from. So I've been uncomfortable with flags full stop. But I don't think you should be trying to represent anybody with a new flag. We've got a flag, just live with it.
Okay. Decisive between the two flags. Why did you choose this one for first?
Well, I think it is more representative of present-day Britain, and I think it's time that that was recognised. That this flag is 200 years out of date, is old-fashioned. And I think also very often misunderstood, this flag, because it's used by people who would like to think that others don't belong, but they don't even know the meaning of this flag. I think that it is more representative, and I think that flags are still a very important symbol. As if you look at the laws related to the flag of the United States, and I think that if a flag has meaning, then I think it should represent the country, it should represent the people of that country. And I think that a flag as well makes a statement. I think I would like to see a flag that does make a statement, that does represent the people, and that represent what a country stands for as well. And I think the flag should represent what is more relevant, what is more appropriate at the present time. In the modern world, I know that other countries like Australia and New Zealand have reviewed their flags, and although I think nothing has changed, I think one day it definitely will change. And I can tell you for Australia, it will change. It will change. I really haven't done it will happen, but there will be a day, and it won't be that long. It won't be that far away before it will change. And I think that other countries that have had to think about their flags, like South Africa and other places that have had to decide a flag, countries in the last 30, 40 years, they put a bit of meaning into it, and they examined, the purpose of a flag and tried to have a flag that represents the country. And I think that's good. I think here, what we have is a flag that from history, and nobody has examined what it means anymore, and just use it, but without sitting back and saying, well, what's relevant to today. And I think it's time that we had the same experience here.
For me, the current Union Jack is very negative. It's about the BNP, it's about UKIP, it's about hatred, but this one suggests warmth, understanding, acceptance. So it's a fantastic alternative that I would rather have than the traditional Union Jack.
Okay. The Union Jack until, let's say, 10 years ago, during Blair years, represented Cool Britannia. But the meaning, as you said, kind of changed. Do you think we can re-inject the Union Jack with some of the attitude that maybe for several years, a few years ago, were part of it, or?
Me personally, there's no way back, no. So even with the positive connections with Blair's government, to me it still signifies the BNP, racism, and it's this country, people often display it. It is because of that right-wing view, so I don't feel comfortable under any circumstances with the Union Jack. So to me, it needs a wholesale change, and this would be a great start.
Okay, so why did you choose the new Union flag design rather than the Union Jack?
I think the new one, I think, reflects what where the country is in this one, where the nation, if you like, call it a nation, because a nation is a mixture of people, and we are a mixture of people, and it reflects that. It's got the basics of what was the Union Jack, but I mean, the Union as such is more than a union now. It's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood of man, and that's the important thing to know, I think.
And women.
And women, sorry, men and women. I always forget that. Sorry, I'm a bit old, old-fashioned.
Do you think there is any chances if I'll propose this one to replace the Union Jack, it will be accepted?
I mean, it's this idea of barriers. I mean, in a way, we shouldn't have barriers at all in the world. I mean, we've gone beyond that really now. I know we've got to get a balance of numbers and so on, but I think certainly as a representational image, it's a very good. I think it covers a lot of the ground that's not shown in the.
I chose this new flag because the Union flag is tarnished. It's been tarnished by sort of racism and unpleasantness in the last few years, and before that, because of my age, it meant Britpop and Jerry Halliwell's dress, and it just became a bit sort of tacky for a while. and then it became associated with a sort of nationalism that I don't want no part of.
Okay, thank you very much.
Man, one flag for the whole earth.
Okay, so between these two flags, why did you choose this one and not the Union
these
Jack?
two flags now, this look like it is representing a lot of different, well, colors for a start and ethnicity, rather than just the Union Jack representing just maybe England alone,
Okay.
or Britain. Is it called Great Britain?
Great Britain,
Well,
yeah.
they're the only country on earth that was called Great. I don't know why. But anyway, I am here. You recognize this? This is our ancestors. Well, the Europeans steal it and make it into a cross. You know
Okay.
what I mean? When they invade and then they come down, they're telling us that God sent them. God never sent them nowhere. They come to Africa to rape, steal, enslave, and to here now build up Europe. Along
Okay. Would you like to be to see representation of African design in the Union Jack?
Yes, because Africa make up this country. Africa built Europe. It was built on the sweat and blood of our ancestors that was brutally removed from the continent to work in Europe here and all over the West for over 400 years. Producing cotton and sugar cane, being beaten by the whip. So yes, the whole of this should be in Africa.
To why you feel that the Union Jack representing the UK better than the other flag?
I think because this one is very traditional, and it's a representation of the monarchy and or the country and the big region. You got Wales, you got Scotland, you got England, and Northern Ireland. So that the combination of everything. But I know after we got in UK a lot of culture, a lot of population from outside the UK, like me, and from France. But I don't know, this one it's more for me, but it's better because it's representation of everything that I love in UK, and yeah, I think that's good color. And, yeah, it's very traditional.
So you live in the UK or just visiting?
I live in UK.
Okay. Wouldn't you, from your French perspective, would like to see some French design on the flag that now representing your country because you live here?
That's a good question. I think the design. This one is probably a lot of just line like this, like this. And you got the St. George cross, and yeah, then the color from all part of the UK. That's probably a good example for a good flag. Yeah.
Okay.
I think national identity is a huge problem currently, and I find borders a real problem. Borders, both physical borders and attitudinal borders, are a real problem for society, for community. And I think the way that the media, that politicians and media have whipped up a kind of a sense of preeminence of certain nationalities over others is a dangerous thing. It harks back to an old colonial past which doesn't really exist anymore. We're in the 21st century. People are very mobile, and people are able to communicate with each other across boundaries and borders through social media. So I really like your project. I think your project is wonderful because it's saying we can have many identities, and we can, identify as women or men or as LGBTI people. We can identify as mothers, as sisters. We can identify as being Northern. Here I am in Manchester, or being English because I'm in England, or as being in Great Britain, but also, for me, really importantly, identifying as being European. I'm a European and I'm a global citizen.
Do you think that LGBT plus communities are more open to these more multi-layered identities, or maybe open identity, rather than straight communities?
Well, I work in politics, and on the political spectrum, it's surprising that you can find sometimes you can find people who are challenging the status quo in some areas, but not challenging it in others. So I don't think there's any hard and fast rules. But what I do think about people who come to terms with a different sexual identity, that they often have to surmount many, many barriers already. So I think that are often more open to the possibility of having different identities, and have many times seen the problems of when there is a fixed identity. So, but I have sometimes been surprised when I've been working at a political level for the rights of LGBTIQ people, that some of the community themselves are not as progressive as perhaps we think they might be. So I still think there's lots of discussion to have about this. I suppose what I sense most of all is that young people have many identities, and that perhaps if you're young and you're LGBTIQ, that you are crossing those boundaries perhaps more often.
Okay.
But it's not a bad thing, to be proud of who you are. And what I wanted to say, I sat in this chair because I think right now we need to be very open to different identities. It's a shame that I feel presently that I can't sit in this chair. And I can't sit in this chair because of what the media and the politicians, the right-wing politicians are doing. So I won't sit back here until I feel that they will start to welcome the diversity and to counteract the hate in society.
You chose this flag?
Because I think we have to acknowledge that there are lots of different communities within one country, and I think this encapsulates it.
Do you think that LGBTQ people more inclined toward the new Union flag rather than the Union Jack, or not necessarily?
I'd like to think so, but not necessarily.
Okay. Why not? Because the flag I created, well, from my perspective, it's much more diverse and talk about differences.
I think it's a lot more complex. I think we have an expectation that LGBTQI would be more accepting, more tolerant. But at the end of the day, they're still people as well, so I don't think it's quite as straightforward as that.
I chose this flag because it represents many nationalities and all the different backgrounds of people who live in the UK, and also just like the designs of the different countries represented in one flag rather than just the red, white and blue that we have.
Do you see any similarities between this one and the rainbow flag?
Yeah, the rainbow flag is obviously LGBTQ, different people, different genders. This one's nationalities, so it does cross over. And even though the colours are so vibrant and eye-attracting.
Do you think LGBTQ people are more likely to support this flag or the Union Jack, or you can't really tell?
I probably they would get on board with this flag because it represents a variety of people rather than under one umbrella. This one recognises people who are different and people from different places coming together under one roof.
And 1, 2, yeah.
I've chosen both of these flags because this one I like the concept behind it, but isn't prominent enough in terms of reflecting the country, whereas this one is although traditional and isn't truly reflective of the country as it stands now, it still speaks volumes.
Okay. The Union Jack, for some people, especially that their ancestors came from former colonized countries, does represent colonialism. So they don't really feel comfortable with that. What, from your perspective, what do you think about that?
From my perspective, I think sometimes that when we talk about colonialism, I think the fact that we're here and we are moving forward the flag doesn't say colonialism anymore. Not to me, it doesn't. I know that's maybe very different for other people, but I do think that we become more than just the flag.
Okay.
Citizen of the world, and I live here in the UK with my partner who is Italian.
Okay.
And we met in Germany.
Theresa May recently said that if you consider yourself citizen of the world, you're a citizen of nowhere. Do you want to reply to this comment?
I think the world is a richer place when we take from all of the cultures and experiences around the world, and together we'll always be stronger than if we isolate ourselves.
We are all born sister and brother, so we all should stand together. We should all be united in a unique flag like this one right here.
As Italian or live in the UK, do you feel the need to be represented, that textile design from your own country will be part of the nation flag?
It would be great, but also then respect like the own British country, as long as then there's like the ideals of living all happy together and accepting others, because I'm proud to be European more than Italian, because that's what living in a like unified country and not like in just separate.
Okay, and your choice?
I like how it looks.
Perfect.
I think it's really important to me that everybody's recognised, and the Union Jack has kind of become, for me, it's kind of been associated with ideas of Britain being very white and very anti-immigration and not recognising all the different cultural heritages. So I like the idea of that. I like the idea that actually shows how it is, that there's people from all different countries, all different backgrounds, and we love that.
Okay. Do you think that LGBTQ people might more tend toward the new Union flag rather than the Union Jack, or it's not necessarily?
I would have thought they would go towards this because we're quite a sort of alternative, counter-culture sort of group of people, really. So I think we probably do. However, the Union Jack has become really stylised, doesn't it, in terms of the design world? So it will completely appeal to some people from that perspective.
And why did you choose the Union Jack?
Because I'm really OCD and it stresses me out. Like all the I really like the design of it. But with that, I like the colours and the patterns, but you can't still see the cross, the pattern of the cross, and I like that about that. I'm not really.
And show me your design. So what does it represent?
Well, I have the Scottish and the English because my family's from Scotland and England. And then I have some places that I want to go to and some things that I want to.
Okay.
Places that your friends are from?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Made the choices you made.
Okay, so this flag represents how I see myself, how I see our communities. So this is how I see how I think Britain should be. This is how I think certain parts of Britain would like it to look like. So although this is supposed to be the British flag, right, no black in there.
Yeah. So I chose to hold two flags because I think we should celebrate our multi-ethnicity and our Celtic origins and more recent origins as well. And also I think it's okay to be proud of your nationality at the same time. I don't think you have to choose one or the other. I think you can choose multiplicity, which is what I choose to celebrate. Okay.
You refer to the Union Jack as something that represents the nation, okay, the nationality.
No, I was given this. Had a choice of two flags. So, yeah.
So, do you feel that the Union Jack itself represents the nation, and the new Union flag represent the diversity of people within the nation?
Oh, you know what? I think you choose your whatever symbolism you want to choose. I don't choose this symbolism. I think it's the symbolism that represents the nation, and so I don't see the flag as being particularly symbolic myself. I think it's more who you vote for, and who you choose as your friends is more important. But if you have to have something that represents the nation as a flag, then I choose both.
So you chose the new Union flag. Why do you feel that the new Union flag representing the UK more than the Union Jack?
The Union Jack is just it's got so many negative things around it now, with like what they call EDL and things like that use it more for hatred and just divide themselves away from the actual communities. It's better to have a flag that brings all the communities together, that represents everyone coming together rather than divides people. And I think the Union Jack now is more of a division between people rather than a united thing and saying that we're all British. It doesn't matter what colour you are or how long you've been in the country. If you come and live here, then I think, and you contribute to the wider population, then you're British. So, yeah.
What about the idea? There is a suspicion that, like you and the other first generation in this country, in this case, it's mostly non-white, so Asian or African origin. They always speak, at least in some parts in the country, the Union Jack, and I have the suspicion that they just don't feel enough comfortable to intervene in the flag, the Union Jack, where they still feel they don't have enough say in it because they are relatively new in this country, the families.
Well, I think there may be that. They may not have the confidence to say we want to embrace it, but I also think there's by holding on to a culture that they came from, I think it gives them an identity as well. For instance, my sister-in-law is from New Zealand. She came over 30 years ago, yet she's never really embraced the fact that she's now living in this country. She has a New Zealand flag on the back of her car. Her house is decorated with Kiwi logos everywhere. She tells everybody at the first instance, oh, I'm New Zealand, I'm New Zealand. But it's unsettled her, because as time's gone on, she wants to become more and more recognised as being a New Zealander, rather than somebody from Britain. And I say to her, well, you've been here 30 years, which is more than half your life, well over half your life. When are you going to accept the fact that this is where you've got married, you've got kids, your kids are born in Britain, your husband's British? The only person who's being unsettled by your continual insistence that you're a New Zealander is you. And it's destabilising you, because in the back of your mind, this isn't your home, you've never made it your home. So embrace the flag and accept the fact that this is where you're going to spend your life.
Don't you think it would be easier for her to embrace a British flag which has some marks of New Zealand, which historically is tied to the UK anyhow?
Well, we get back to the issue that we discussed before, that you don't have a national flag, you just have a world flag. Because every single nationality is represented in this country. So if we did that for everybody who felt that their identity was from another place, you would end up with a world flag, which is maybe what we should have.
Okay. Thank you.
So you want to know about my antipathy for flags?
Yeah, you decided actually not to choose any of the flags. I want to know why.
Well, I think that's based on a couple of things. The first is that I have two passports, and that's because of my particular life history, and I always feel quite guilty about having two passports. I don't actually think that passports should be necessary. It's a very idealist view, but I think what lies behind the idea and the idealism is that we actually get rid of borders, and borders can be very metaphorical as well as literal. So passports reinforce literal borders, but passports sustain the metaphorical idea that people can be separated and prevented from moving. So from an early point in my childhood, I was asked to stand up and in Canada and sing the Canadian national anthem, and I couldn't bring myself to sing the British one, never mind the Canadian one. Got into a lot of trouble for that as a youth. In my old age, I've become a forensic anthropologist, and one of the things that forensic anthropology focuses on is human identification. And in our modern world, human identification is now very much a discipline which is at the mercy of large governments and large corporations who want to control and track people's movements for reasons that I think are not particularly constructive to humanity as a whole. And that's all wrapped up in borders, and it's wrapped up in nationalism. And flags are an easy symbol for people to focus upon, and it's also very distracting. So it distracts them from what's really important, which are some other arguments.
Okay. What about this?
It's a bit of glam. It's unnecessary.
What about the idea of the new Union flag as an ever-changing flag that represents the changing of the nation?
It's still a nation, though. It's a nation. It's a nation of a group of people, or groups of people. And I think it would be nice to have people and not nations. I still stick with that.
So why did you choose this flag rather than the Union Jack?
I think because I've really, I've grown up in Britain and I've witnessed a huge change, and I really love the diversity and the mix of cultures. It's so lovely not to get your, when I grew up with Vesta curries and sort of Vesta chow mein, so you got your exotic food in a cardboard box and it was freeze dried in an area of the visit. And it's so lovely to have the real flavours come cooked by people who've been cooking them for centuries. And so I just love living in such a diverse culture.
I chose this flag because I think it's important to have a flag of many nations and many cultures. I feel, I don't know, feel myself quite multicultural, so that's why I chose this.
Do you think it represents the UK, this flag?
Yes.
Yes, it can do. Yes, it can be seen as such. I think it's. I think we need to think more and more of outside of boundaries, outside of countries, and so we're. I think how you put it is citizens of the world, isn't it? So.
But Teresa said that if you feel that you are citizens of everywhere, you are citizens of nowhere. What do you think about this comment?
I think that's also true, in that it's difficult for people without having a passport to place in the present system.
Yeah, if you haven't got a passport, but if you've got a passport of some description, if you're not stateless, it's difficult when you're stateless, obviously, but if you've got some sort of state you officially belong to, then, that should be okay. I'm not British, so, I'm quite happy living here. I was quite happy living in my own country. I think I could get used to living in another country, and I think it's really important to, sort of travel and get to know people and learn from one another.
Do you live in Oldham?
We live in Mossley, which is sort of is in Tameside, but it's not far.
Is it also multicultural like Oldham?
No,
not as much.
Mossley is much more sort of white, middle class British, I think.
English.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that their view in compared to people who live in Oldham will be different because of the mix?
I sometimes think that the more of a mix you've got, the more frightened people may become.
Okay.
Because they feel that it's encroaching on their bit, so to speak. So I think that if you've got less mixture of culture, maybe people, you know, can be sort of people may be more accepting. On the other hand, obviously, the less you mix, the less you learn from one another. So I think it depends who you're talking to, really.
Okay.
I chose this flag because I am delighted at the idea of a different flag that represents more realistically both the Britain of the present and what I hope is the Britain of the future. I have 3 small grandchildren. The idea that they might grow up in a world with curiosity for difference, for the multiplicity of different backgrounds and cultures of the people around them, that they might learn about different things, reassess their own assumptions with dialogues with other people, is very exciting to me. So I welcome this project. It represents the possibility of the Britain that I want to live in, of the Britain that I want to be proud of. I want to be changed by the newness of voices and cultures that come in, and learn about things and have people learn about my background and other histories of how people have lived Britain. The other thing I love about it is that I feel deeply ambivalent about the traditional Union Jack, and it is associated for me with histories of empire and colonialism, where Britain exploited, often cruelly, and in ways that was for the profit of people here to the detriment of people in other cultures. There was violence involved in that empire and colonialism, and a terrible, terrible cultural arrogance in that exploitation of other people. So to have a new flag with which I can feel patriotic, hopeful, engaged in new possibilities is for me really exciting. So I'm really, really glad that this project exists, and I love the idea that it's going to that the flag is a dynamic place that will keep changing and adapting and absorbing and welcoming the different cultures of people who come into our country.